Servus! Im letzten Part sahen wir, wovon der gute Sojiro Zeuge wurde. Von Alice und Aoko, die gegen eine, wie mutmaßlich jetzt, eine Puppe von Toko kämpften. Und wie er bei seinem Job im Pachinko-Shop oder Pachinko-Casino Toko aus Saki traf und sofort davon lief, was wahrscheinlich besser gewesen ist. Weil es sonst wahrscheinlich als Puppe geändert wäre. Da mal weiter. Blues in Her Name. Chapter 4. There really isn't any other way of saying this. I'm a magician. Have like those vicious fairy tales who live alone in the woods and perform miracles with the wave of a finger. But the popular deception of it differs from reality is closer to the truth than you know. Though, just so we are clear, no, I don't fly through the sky on a broom. I cannot transform into animals nor speak with small birds. Modern mages are nothing so fanciful. Our existence sounds unbelievable, but we are quite grounded. Though it may seem like we can't do anything, we're actually majorly constrained. And while I still have a lot to learn about it, this is my real job. Sounds a lot more romantic than being a high school student, right? Naturally, this is a secret. I don't just share with anyone. A mage must do everything in their power to conceal their work. That is the first and most important of the Association 10 laws. Don't attempt to let the cat out of the bag in the least. My secret identity as a student is intact, and absolutely no good would come of me to revealing my true nature. If anything, it would only lead to more headache. That's why I do everything in my power to keep it a secret. Of course, I would accomplish anything as a magician by now, then maybe I would see it differently. I fantasized about revealing my secret life's work to a single special person by finally make something of myself. Yeah, I would pretty stellar to start to confess one day. By the way, I'm a magician, Shiro. The idea alone is enough to keep me from spoiling the big reveal regardless of the association rules. My grandfather patted me on the head when I shared these thoughts with him. I don't know if it was praise or what, but I remember that his touch was gentle. I first learned it would be succeeding my grandfather on the day I graduated middle school. When I returned home, there he was. Your elder sister left on a journey. From this day forth, you are the higher for our Saki. He said it just a matter of fact way. I knew that our Saki family passed down the old tradition of magecraft, but to be honest, I never imagined I would be the one to wield it. Magecraft is supposed to be passed down to a single child. It was my sister's role to take the mantle, and I had no interest in this. Dedicating myself to so many rules and routines. I planned to live a normal life. I had hopes, dreams for the future. I felt bad for my sister, but I was determined to live my life in my way. And while I managed to do just that, for a time I was blindsided by a vicious counterpunch. Since then I've been thrust headlong into a world I had only observed from afar. It was a hell of a way to start a high school, but I suppose it wasn't all that bad, all things considered. A lot has happened since then. I was so dazed with newfound life that a year of school motor right by. I was the second year before I knew it. Thankfully, nothing drastic happened. The 6 month my roommate and I totally tried to kill each other. Notwithstanding. As it happens, I've got a natural talent at this magic stuff, so I've yet to have any hang-ups there either. I'm only human, so I've had my fair share of headaches for sure, but I never once did worry about my future. I thought my life would be a smooth sailing all the way. If only everything had gone to plan last night. Alice Kunoji asked Oko Saki, the sexiest at the house. Her dark eyes succeeded where her voice failed to communicate the gravity of the situation. Oko took her unflattering coat, hung it on the hanger and sat down on the sofa. Alice sat across from her with a table separating them.
そっちはよくないわね。偵察に行けるのは7個ぐらい。ここのところ使ってばかりで作り置きをする余裕もなかったし。
Alice glanced from Oko to the box on the table.
あの夜、町を監視していた奴はいないの？町の偵察は完璧なんでしょ？そいつら。それは昼間の話よ。夜間飛行は危険が多いわ。
Meaning they were at least used when they most needed, Oko sighed.
そういうあなたは朝は随分と強気だったけど。ん？ああ、こっちは予定通りよ。明日までには絞り込めると思う。今朝、飛び丸にうちの生徒の自宅と行動時間を調べさせたから。あの時間に公園をうろつくやつはめったにいないし、簡単に割り出せる。そう簡単に行くの？行くわよ。伊達に生徒会に勤めてないわ。その程度のデータは揃えてある。
Schlau。
月1のバイト先はおろか、親しい友人宅との移動時間、その優先順位まで調べ上げてるんだから。人には見せたくなかったリストだけど、そんな余裕ないでしょ。だからそういうのが向いてる副会長にやらせたの。
Instead, the creation of a secret file started the moment Oko became Saudi council president. The mere rumor of its existence was enough to strike fear into the entire student body.
そう、徹底しているわね、相変わらず。
Alice was only mildly surprised. It had almost 2 years since they first started living together. She knew as well as anyone that when Oko put her mind to something, she saw it through to the end.
ま、私もあれがこんな風に役立つとは思ってもみなかったけど。
But what happened last night was far beyond a mere exception to the rule. The predicament should not have been even possible.
それより原因は分かったの？結界の結びに不手際があったなんてのは聞かないわよ。
Oko glared at her. The war was Alice's responsibility. If it was to blame for last night's trouble, Alice had to own up to her fair share. Alice and Oko have been roommates and partners, but it was a relationship of convenience. While lineage brought them together, they were more like enemies than allies. Ultimately, they were just not a match. Where there was a blunder, it was punished. Where there was an opening, it would be attacked. If there was even an opportunity, the two of them would kill each other in the event of such a moment. Alice locked eyes with Oko. Oko's fierce glance could make a grown man cower in fear, but Alice did not bat an eyelash.
仮の話だけど、あの結界に落ち度があったのなら、今まで何度もこういう状況になっていたでしょうね。
I suppose you're right, Oko agreed as the question reaffirmed her trust in Alice.
結界のあり方は完璧だったのね。 絶対とまでは断言はできないけど。
Alice answers as flatly as ever. About feels like a sanctuary sealed away from the real world. Steps are taken whereby a certain area is cut off from the outside world. There are various kind of battlefields. There are physical ones that close off an area behind a wall, and less tangible ones that use mirrors, mist, or trees to conceal that which occurs within. However, when close off an area to the outside world, you cannot avoid communicating the abnormality's existence. In other words, the area may have closed off to the outside world, but it is impossible to hide the fact that it is closed off. In time, someone will take interest in the sealed off area, even if they cannot see what's going on inside. Some might say this is putting the cart before the horse. The ideal field would be that one that both undetectable and impervious to interference from outside. That was exactly the kind Alice had generated in the park the night before.
今はないように思わせれば誰もそこには立ち入らない。隠したい場所の周りに一時的な意識の改ざんを促す結界を張る。手間はかかるんだけど、1時間程度の人よけには信頼性は高い結界よね。アリスの鏡を使った一級品だし、途中で破れることもない。事実、入ってきたのはあの人形だけだとはっきり感じられた。これで完璧じゃなかったら何が完璧なのよ。私もわからない。森作りに落ち度はなかったわ。森は数日かけて栽培したものだし、今まで通り信頼できる結界よ。けど例外があったのなら、どこかで見落としがあったのね。
Though Alice was conceded the possibility, her eyes expressed the confidence that she had overlooked nothing.
参った。こうなると、一番いいのはあいつが人形使いだってパターンね。それならかろうじて納得できる。問題は侵入した時の違和感をどうやって消したかってことだけど。
Though being targeted by this individual was pretty terrifying, if they were able to penetrate Alice's field, it could only mean that their silly measure was superior to Alice's. Alice, in her state, would be completely helpless against such a foe.
その線はないわ。彼は部外者よ。ムクドリはともかく、ロビンが後をたどれなかったもの。魔力の気配は全くなし。誰かの魔術で操られている犠牲者というのもないわね。
Orc was quickly running out of straws to grasp at, and admit she was out of questions to ask. All she could do was call it bad luck and leave it at.
魔術師の秘密を見られて、おまけに目撃者を逃がしたか。普通の高校生の悩みじゃないな。
The sofa groaned as she leaned back. Her gaze went up to the brown ceiling at her side. It wasn't much of a view. She was becoming increasingly depressed.
覚悟を決めておいて。
Her roommate voice seems different, but Orko keeps starting up the wooden ceiling.
それとも、あなたにできないのなら、私が言ってあげてもいいけど。
The cool-mannered girl stared at Kate in equally iced implication. Orko took the words and slowly, with such a sincerity as she could muster. It was like trying to swallow a molten lead.
そうだ。覚悟なんて、もう決めたでしょ。
The thought sounded hollow, even as it popped into her head. This was clearly different from last time. While the aim was indeed the same, the circumstances surrounding her target was clearly different. She may have been determined before, but that was a mage. If enemies emerged, she would kill them. If was challenged, she would step up to the fight. It was a fight between two mages, and the opponent was in the wrong, even if it could only end up in death for one of them. It was an outcome both parties could accept. Kill or be killed. Morality had no bite on the scale. But this time was different. Her opponent was neither an enemy nor a mage. Even if she was prepared to kill them, this person was likely not ready to die. That's the morality did factor into it now. Was she truly up to the task of murdering an innocent person? Could she swallow the fact that this was a common occurrence for a mage? She noticed ironically, being a mage did not mean that Oka was some kind of monk who could cut ties to the real world on a whim. If there was one thing Aoko hated, it was doing things without conviction or understanding of exactly why she was doing them. When she acted, she performed to act selflessly. As she said so, she got up from the sofa, having had her fill of the seating for one day. Aoko returned to the alcove always, and Alice was done probing her. As if for water, Alice produced a small bottle. It fit nearly in the palm of her hand. The bottle looked completely out of place in the slender fingers. The glass was cloudy and it appeared empty. Some sheets of paper remained on the front, where there was once a label. Oka studied the bottle suspiciously. Oka was miraculously able to parse what Alice meant.
それってレンゲ堂の兄弟の話？じゃああの赤いひょうたんと同じなわけ？言いたくないけど、そこら辺の風邪薬のラベルを無理やり剥がして小瓶に見せかけてるそれが？
Alice looked at the bottle and acknowledged how ordinary it looked. She also understood that she would not be the one using it, as she set it on the table.
赤いひょうたんじゃなくて陽子玉の常瓶の方。そういう問題じゃない。私は魔術師としての雰囲気を論じてるんだ。些細なことを気にするのね。せいろがんの瓶じゃないだけいいと思うけど。
Laxatives? She made a good point.
蓋を開けて相手の名前を尋ねればいいから。ただし相手に抵抗する意志が残っている場合、小瓶は割れるから気をつけて。
I could raise eyebrows.
ちょっと待った。抵抗する意志があるとダメって眠っている時にやれってこと？それは試したことがなかったわ。眠っているのに返事をする人っているの？たまにいるけど、まあ確かに珍しいわね、そういう人。
In that case, one would have to weaken them until they were about to pass out.
そうそう。薬や魔術がかかっていると、その重さでも割れるから気をつけて。使えない。それってほとんど役立たずってことじゃない。それは青子次第ね。
Let's sit there, she replied, as if the topic no longer mattered to her.
アリスがこういう小道具好きなのは知ってたけどね。これも趣味なわけ
？Urko asked, hoping Alice would deny it.
多分。それでどうするの？持っていくのか行かないのか。
With Andres, Urko differed a bit before taking the bottle and putting it in her pocket. She figured she might be able to find some use for it. Two hours had passed, and the clock struck 9. The conversation had moved from the drawing room to the sunroom, and it had manifested into a kind of scene one would not expect the shot to mention.
まあ本当はね、飛び丸に任せる気はなかったんだけど。
Ich will kurz was nachschauen. Nämlich wie viele Szenen das Kapitel hat. Ah. 4 Szenen also. Da dürfte es bei der Szene 2 sein.
Ma, 本当はね、飛び丸に任せる気はなかったんだけど。
A hot earthenware pot set on the table. Urko spat out complaints to no one in particular. She plucked food from it with her chopsticks. Tonight they were eating a traditional Japanese meal that looked out of place in this mansion. When it came to the kind of Japanese hot pot, where all one had to do was buy and boil ingredients, the usual Aoko's responsibility. Alice sat across from Aoko. She silently poked at the pot with a fork.
山城のやつが来るなり、しずきくんはまだ部活に入っていないから面倒を見てあげてくれないかな、なんて言ってくるもんだからさ。全校生徒の行動範囲なんて見直す気力なくなっちゃったのよ。
The egg she had plucked was still as silky as a baby's bottom, so she returned it to the pot. She settled for the shirataki noodles instead.
そりゃあのバカがバイトで忙しいのは知ってるわよ。だからできるだけ春先までのんびりしてて、あんなのでも親身になってくれそうな部の部長に当たってみたのに、ありがとうの一つもないってのはちょっと尺に触るわよね。ねえ、聞いてるアリス。
As if her mouth full of the simply nodded in response. Her explanation stated that she had no interest, no opinion on the matter, but at least she appeared to be listening. Satisfied, I nibbled on the hand-pan fish cake.
それに私、いい人なんて言われるやつは信用できないのよ。あろうことか飛び丸までそんなこと口走る始末だし、あれはいい人なんじゃなくてただぼんやりしてるだけなんだっての。だいたいあそこまで言われて怒りもしないなんてどうかしてるわ。
Her thoughts went to what happened in the student council room earlier that day. She remembered how non-responsive Sushiro had been to her words. His unconcerned face alone was enough to her to swallow the rest of her handpan without chewing it.
何が分かってるんだなよ。
His words were a lot like those that ended her childhood.
青子ちゃんは分かっているんだね。それでも自分であり続けられるということはとても強いことなんだよ。
Purpose was meant as a compliment, but she took it as a patronizing way to pity her, because the person who said it had acted like she was looking at a wounded animal.
あんな変態の言ってたことなんて今さらどうでもいいけどさ。
That episode might have made her the most confused she had ever been in her life. Yet, what shocked young Aoko the most was the look of pity on the face of the person she admired the most. The brook commerce stopped in the tracks.
ごめん、聞いてなかった。喧嘩ってあの喧嘩？
Alice nodded.
あなたの感想だけじゃ状況はよくつかめないけど、つまり青子はその人に喧嘩を売りたかったのね。
Alice spins to the very last handpan. Her remark was unexpected but completely on point.
なんでそうなるのよ。私はあんなのと1秒だって関わりたくないだけだってば。だいたいそれどころじゃないし、興味とか全くないし、会話もこれ以上ないってぐらい簡潔に切り上げたし。
ならどうして今そんな話をするの？
え、それはあんたに今日の調査過程を知らせてあげたのよ。それ以外何があるっていうの
Whatever reason could Alice be sarcastic Oko had for bringing it up? It would be several hours later in bed that Oko realized that she had dug her own grave.
いいけど私は別に。ただ青子は本当にその人が嫌いなの？
Alice ate the hot pot in silence, as if she was honoring some sort of sacred ritual. Her face was indifferent as always, but she was secretly enjoying how flustered Oko was. Oko was none the wiser to this. Normally she would have noticed immediately, but she was not quite herself at the moment.
本当にって、そりゃそうよ。気に食わないって何度も言ってるじゃない。
そう。具体的には？
は？具体的にはってそんなのに理由なんて。
She turned off as she finally realized how disagreeable she was being. She could come up with no reason why. Her instincts had told her that she was incompatible with that fig. But why such a strong reaction? More than anything in the world, Oko hated emotions without reason and decisions with no rationale.
嫌いなものは嫌いなんだから、ちゃんとどっかに理由があるんだと思うけど。
She became more flustered the more she talked. Unfortunately for her, she could not come up with a coherent reason to hate Shizuki. It was not his fault that he had zero common sense. It was the fault of the environment he grew up in. In fact, it was admirable that he was trying so hard to adapt to a civilized society. As clueless as he might have been, he was not a complete waste of space. It seems a bit slow, but only because his general nature compelled him to think before acting. When one looked at everything objectively, the conclusion was obvious. As much as he was loath to admit it, he really was the good guy everyone had pegged us.
ちょっと本気かっての。人間的に悪いところ、本当にみじんもないのか？
There was plenty, so she left it at that for now. The chopsticks she had been using came to a stop. She was getting very annoyed. An irrational hatred burned through her head. Unable to come to terms with her feelings, she desperately tried to analyze Oshiro, but her mind only went in more cycles. Alice fixed the oak with a deadpan stare. A small sigh.
らしくないわね、青子。
Those words were the final blow. Aoko felt the floor from under her. She was unable to leave her chair until long after Alice had finished eating and left. However, even after getting knocked down, Aoko was not the one who kept that way. She made short work clearing up the dinner, and after conceding the first bath of the night, Alice left the drawing room. Since it was customary in these sorts of mansions to turn the lights off when leaving an empty room, the only areas of the house were the drawing room and the two girls' bedrooms. The upstairs was enveloped in darkness. Aoko made her way to the deepest part of the east wing along the long corridor, illuminated only by the light of the moon, and arrived at her room.
結論として、やっぱり騙し討ちは気に食わない。
It had been considering this one the way down the corridor, or perhaps ever since she left the drawing room. The moment she entered the room, she drew her proverbial line in the sand.
やるにしても隠れるのはなし。正面から堂々と向かい合って理由を言う。
This was another concession given by the feelings of sympathy or compassion. For her, this was simply the way things ought to be.
そうと決まれば。
After setting her to solve, she headed to the study next door.
木曜棚の当時欄、緑の背表紙と。
Without hesitating, she moved one book from her countless volumes on the shelf. The introduction textbooks transported here from the Awasaki residence were separated to 6 shelves, labeled Monday to Saturday. Orchid organized the books by topic, genre, and purpose and had more or less memorized exactly what was in her personal library. Referencing any of his material books took her no time at all, as was befitting the role of the keeper of this study. Though this keeper fifth them was nothing more than a small room. Both Oku and Ellis had given up all hope on the cluttered mess of her library in the annex. Nevertheless, on occasion Oku would have no option other than to give Alice a heads up and visit it when the study did not meet her needs.
できればそれは避けたいところだけど、と。
Oku placed a thick green book down and took a seat. The desk was set, it was dirty but uninviting. It wasn't the sort of furniture girls at the age grew attached to, but she lacked the minimalist elegance nonetheless. She flipped through the books, old worn pages.
アリスみたいな結界は私にはまだ無理だ。人払いはその場所自体に頼らないといけないか。
The mountains, the woods, the school building empty at night. She was looking for a place that would be, except for the worst of luck, void of people, allowing her to forego the use of magicraft.
茨の壁だの魔力の霧だの、そういう回りくどいのもなんだしな。退路を断つっていうなら、もっとこう見た目にも状況的にも派手な方が効果的だし。
Muttering about how there'd be some basic spell that fits her needs, she continued to flip through the pages. It goes without saying that she was looking for a way to deal with the witnesses from the previous night. Magicraft were many but all encompassing. Fundamentally, magicraft was good for making things or phenomena that existed already, while more or less bypassing the time and resources conventional means would require. It was, however, unable to manifest phenomena that were possible in this world. It was essentially an equivalent exchange that used a variety of shortcuts. A phenomenon made possible by human hands, actualized by an individual's power. That was generally what magicraft was. To give a simple explanation, if Aoko were so inclined, she could make an entire lake appear at the mansion. However, it had to be something that existed within this world. Nothing, not even the smallest matter, could escape this unbreakable law. Even if Oku were to release a level of heat on par with an F-50 fighter, chats afterburner that event would only be possible if the circuit named Okazaki acted as temporary input variable in a magic formula. The derived equivalence was simply a value that already concurred in reality. Invariably, the equation did not exist elsewhere in reality. The spell could not be valid. The imaginary element known as magical energy was like a lie that could only slip its fantasy through the network of order at the moment of ignition. Aber ich glaube, ich höre jetzt mal auf. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und wir sehen uns beim nächsten Mal. Dann adios und Pfiat.